Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to have a look at the Barham, or the Barham, or the Barham, depending on what region you're from. Basically, this is the new event vehicle that is coming out for War Thunder, and it's actually on the dev server for the next major update. So this isn't technically on the dev server, it's in the files, and I've cheated it in, so we can have a look at it and see what's going on. Just to let you know, there's a bunch of other ships in the files too, including stuff like the Amagi, the Aras, the Mogador, and many others, which we'll have a look at in a later video. But basically, what the Barham is a battleship of the Queen Elizabeth class, and it's one of them which is probably the most famous out of all of them, apart from the Warspite, because of the fact that there is a video of it exploding after getting hit by a submarine. The vehicle itself has access to 4 dual-mounted 15-inch turrets, 2 on the front that you can see here, and then also 2 on the back right here, so you can get a full broadside off, which is fantastic. It also has 14 single 6-inch cannons all along the sides here in the setup, so 7 aside as usual, and then 2 76mm as well, which I'm guessing are these ones right here. These are actually the 6-inch cannons that you can see, so they're the extra ones. So the 76mm are hiding somewhere, probably on the higher area. There you go, the 76s are right there. So basically, what you have from this vehicle is something that's going to be able to put out a lot of 15-inch firepower, which is very good for a high BR vehicle. A lot of nations are still stuck on 14-inch guns, such as the Americans, where of course the British guys and the Japanese have moved on from that. The other thing to also mention about this vehicle is it does have access to a pretty decent belt of 330, then 220, and then 152 above it, with this 50mm setup behind it. The turrets themselves are 330 as well, so the same protection, and then also the ammo elevator area is protected by a decent chunk too. The bridge, 250, so not as heavy as a lot of other machines, but still pretty good. And then on the inside, it's a pretty standard setup. You know, it does have the huge smoke funnels out of the center of the machine, with all of the engines modeled in the center. By the way, on the dev server, there's this really cool new thing where you can actually just select specific things that you want to see. So you can see the secondary weapons on this thing, which it doesn't seem to have any, but you can see like the control compartments, which are here. So you don't have to look at all of it at once if you don't want to. But it has huge ammo racks, of course, for those 15-inch guns, and then the steering gear, propeller shafts, and many other things which this vehicle has access to. The fire director, it's pretty standard. You can see that the measuring accuracy is 93%, but I'm pretty sure with modifications that will get higher, and also the calculation time is quite nice. The major issue I have with vehicles like this is the fire rate. You can see 1.5 rounds per minute, plus 2 rounds if you get an aced crew, and also the actual targeting speed is very slow on these, but they're also huge, and once again, a First World War battleship. Modification-wise for these 15-inch guns, it has access to a standard SAPC-BC shell, which has a lot of penetration and a good metric ton of explosive mass. With the APC, which is a rank 1 modification, it's still 30 kilos worth of TNT equivalent and pens 600mm. So these, if they hit the target, will do a lot of damage in the penetration front and do really, really well. The 6-inch guns do get a CPC round, which pens okay, I suppose, but you're not really going to get a lot out of these when you're fighting other battle cruisers and also other battleships, which are generally at this BR. The Barham is also at 7.0, so it's the highest BR in naval, and also isn't refit at all. So this is the First World War version of the Barham as it was made and as it was ready to go. This means that maybe we get some refits in the future, because this one did go through significant refits, especially in the 30s and the 40s before it was sank. So hopefully they actually do that, because that would be really cool to see. The other parts of it are pretty standard. You know, the torpedoes are better than a lot of other First World War torpedoes that you find from different machines, but they're still not great. The major cool thing is that they travel quite a good distance at 7.3 kilometers, and everything else is pretty bog standard. So if you want a vehicle which is going to play, high-tier naval and going to grind out events and play alongside a lot of the other British naval machines, this one is probably the one to go for. But at the same time, it's something that's not really going to blow too much away if you've already played the higher echelons of naval for Britain. It doesn't really bring too much new to the table, and the only cool thing for me personally about it is the fact that we may get some of the other Queen Elizabeth classes, such as the Queen Elizabeth, or once again, the Warspite, which is one of the most decorated, ships of all time in terms of military history. So, the Barham is here. It's not available to test drive, but the event for it starts next week, and also it's 45k to grind every 2 days for 9 stages straight. You'll be able to do it. It won't be too hard, especially in naval, but if you want to get it, this is the way to do it. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.
I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.